Hey, hello. Nice to see you. Yes, it's not there yet. We're still at release candidate 2 for H3, but we're getting closer and closer. So, I'm optimistic. But there's stuff to do. Okay. Joaquin, yes, you are here from the beginning. What's going on? Okay. Let's see. Reaper. Amazing. Good to see you. Okay. I was serious about the boring thing. Like, I'm making no promises. Hey, hello. Nice to see you. Just thought I might introduce, a bit of cross-site scripting vulnerability or something like that. Just fold it into the framework just so you'll have some fun finding some issues. Okay, let's see. What is going on? I did not change my camera, but what I did do is I increased the size of the stream because a couple of people were complaining that it was too small. It was 720p, so it's now 1080p. So you can see this in like literally twice the quality. But we'll see how it goes. Like if everything fails, then we revert back. Whoa. Okay, hopefully I'm not going to drop off, but I'm just going to reorder my preferred Wi-Fi versus wired internet. So let's see. Hopefully I stay online. Am I actually still online? Oh yes, the GitHub mascot. It is amazing. It is truly amazing. I should just sit on my shoulder. There we go. Oh, I could get used to this. I just need a little sling or something like that. I didn't realize I would... There we go. Octo hat. I think that is something GitHub clearly needs to prioritize. Thankfully, so far this Octocat has been preserved from any play. However, I have a limited edition Vunicorn. This Vunicorn is amazing, right? It's a Vunicorn, but it originally had much more hair, but it has had its haircut increased, and I'm lucky there is any hair there left at all. So I cannot promise that things will be good. Let's see. Great. Oh. Hey, hello. So, what I'm doing at the moment is just updating. I've done some refreshing of log files, and I'm just updating the test Nitro and H3 PR, and there are some interesting things. Yeah, that's not expected. Okay. Hey. Right, so 827,699. Okay, this has brought everything down much better. And the issue mainly that I want to investigate is why we have such big difference between these bundles. Basically, we've switched to an entire different way of handling externals from a Nitro point of view. And it may not be as... It's probably better. It's probably flagged up some issues, but it certainly has made a difference to what ends up getting pulled into the server and what ends up being in the node modules. So this actually has not made a great deal of difference. Okay, let's hide the log file. And it has made 10 degrees of difference to our client, weirdly. Hello, Fubar. I have often used your namesakes. And Salaman, hello. Tom, you got in before I could say anything. Like, you did not even say hi before you brought the edge into it. And I take that as a sign, as a definite sign of something, for sure. Okay. I know. Unbelievable. The quality of this stream is just insane. Okay, this is interesting because this should be inline view modules and it isn't. So that is definitely something we need to look at. Okay. So basically when we have inline, we've got some view options and we've got some inlined view options, specifically, where are they? Yes, test external view, that's what it is. Okay, so external view should mean that we, I see this might be what it is. Let's try this. What I am, sorry, has it slowed down? Has it slowed down? I cannot tell. It's impossible. My life is still in exactly the same quality as it was before. Okay, so we have these options to inline, and for some reason we are, oh no, this is in Nitro. So we're passing view, but why would it not be inlining it? So this is a regression in Nitro, or in our Nuxt configuration of Nitro. So basically we should be inlining view and we're not for some reason in this particular situation. Oh, and this also maybe we should be passing that. Seems to be making no difference. The bundling change is coming in Nuxt, in Nitro, in the Nitro miner, yes. And it is, so you can try it with Nitro, Nuxt Edge. If you can try it with the Edge channel, Tom. So if you give it a go with here, this link, that will also pull in NitroPack Edge. And you'll have to install it like this. Like this. Just copy that. So this is the command that you would run. And the reason it's different is that H3 also needs to be on that particular Edge release, but your package manager won't pick it because it's not yet released as a 1.8.0. Okay, To Cool. Okay, so this is something we still need to look into a little bit more. I think we should be able to remove these changes. I think I'll just directly, I have it checked out anyway, so I'll just get checkout origin main, lint. What is it? Okay, we can ignore that. These changes are needed. Those are good, excellent. Needed. So most of these changes are just updating. So it's purely the test. Okay. Biggest change for Nuxt 3.7. I'm going to tell you a secret. Do you want to know a secret? You cannot tell anybody else, okay? But you can use it yourself. That is the only thing that I'm going to stipulate. You can't tell anybody else. Secret, right? So the secret is secret between you, me, and anybody else who ever watches this video, which is probably not a huge number of people, but anyway. If you take a look at the pull request for 3.7, and indeed any pull request, it's a fairly boring one, right? It's got it all there, but I use it as a scratch pad. You'll see I edit it from time to time. And if you have a look, you can see in the actual note that GitHub has just frozen on me. What's going on, GitHub? I know, it's such an important... Sean, welcome! I need to get back to you. Sorry, I totally failed to reply to your last message. What is going on? Okay, so here's the secret, right? Edit it. And you can see there's a whole article in there that I've written, which you can have a look to see what the highlights are, at least as of when I last looked at it. So that's probably the answer to your question, because I'll try and highlight things that I think are pretty cool. But to be fair, there are some new extra things that are in there since my last edit. Okay, this is all about choice. This is all about making 3.7 happen today because there's a lot to do. So I am probably going to be very boring. Okay, this type import paths, we've merged a similar one on Nitro. So we will merge it here, but I also want to fix this in unimport. So I may end up reverting this and handling it there. We also have another root injection. I'm going to use this too, merge this too. And okay, what is something I have the most... I genuinely have a lot of fun. Do you know, just yesterday, I was working on a VS Code extension and set it up to do it with Nuxt. It was so nice. It was just a lot of fun. So I will release that as like a Nuxt module or a preset or something, if anybody is interested. This I am particularly interested by, the experimental native async context support. Hello, welcome. This will be really good. So there is a draft version as well in, so this PR means basically if you're running Node you can enable it and never have to worry about no Nuxt instance anymore. You can just call your functions whenever and wherever you want, and they will just somehow work. Well, as long as they are within, instead, like they can't just be called an ambient JavaScript, like not just in the module code, but as long as you're calling them in a function, you don't have to worry about it, whether it's before or after an async await break, which will be pretty cool. Okay, what else are we doing? And I'm also, it's possible we might get PNPM support without shamefully hoist. But there's just this PR to resolve, and I think it's only failing in the CI. So this could also be something that would be nice to do. Okay, I'm going to. Oh, is this installed? Yeah. Okay, so we'll have to look at this. So my little to-do list is going to be look at Nitro issues preventing merge, get node module resolver in a fit state to merge. ORM, I hear good things about Drizzle. People seem to like that, so I would be definitely checking that out. If you take a look at Sebastian's repo here, Nuxt to-dos edge, he has got that up and running using Drizzle. That's quite a nice implementation. He's absolutely loved doing it, so that would probably be worth a check out, and a star if you haven't already given that to him. Okay, so get node module resolver. Let me just do a quick check for other PRs to see what else we want to get in. What do I have in the 3.7 milestone, which is already marked as past due by 7 days? That's embarrassing. Sorry, people, it hurts. Okay, we are not going to merge this in for 3.7. I'll make that 3.8. Okay. What else do we have by way of milestone? We have these PRs, layouts in separate folder. Okay, 2 from me, and also this one. Okay, yeah, those are all good things to look at. Okay, so let's first have a look at, let's add the right tag to the node module resolver so I look at it in the same place. And just copy the search, and there we go. Right. Okay. So first thing, simplest, I feel like this, I can more quickly get up and going. So let's just merge in the latest changes here, and I'll come back to the Nitro one in a second. Okay. Fetch origin, get merge origin main. In here, what are the comments? Okay, runtime conditions from Nitro, that would be nice. Resolve deep imports and finish the merge. And we'll basically, oh, we have a to-do, great. I'll mark that as resolved. And then here, radix 3 and unstorage in Vite source server. We basically need to add a couple more. Oh, we have, great. Okay, so those comments are all done, but we just need the test to pass, and they are very far from passing right now. Hey, Let's see. Vim motions. There's no Vim motions going on here. What I do love Snap, which is this for switching between windows. Highly recommend it. And it basically means it is super, no need for alt tabbing everywhere. You just go where you want. So I want my terminal to come up, so I just command to it, and it was not open, so it had to start the window as well. Okay, so this issue is, what is the issue here? So this is, oh, I remember. So this is a, what's that? Just a random comment. I want to know what it means. It's out of nowhere. Let's see. Okay, so the issue here is actually not reproducible in a project, in an end user project. This is only reproducible in this repository with Vite-Node. So basically, if we were to install our dependencies, and I did see that, I was really sorry to see that. I don't know him, but yeah, I know he's meant a lot to a lot of people. And Biscoitus, nice to see you. And DMD Boy, welcome. So if I run the test of, well, I think it might even work, reproduce in the playground, let's see. Hey, welcome. Nice to have you join. It's a pleasure. I think that is probably a very nice token of respect. And I would also say that he is also, who seems to have been very involved in this charity. Let's see, ICCF Holland, which is, where is the link to it? Which is this website. Yeah, welcome, Nuxt fans. Do you know? I mean, I don't think there's a rivalry between Nuxt and Nuxt, right? So I think yeah. Anyway, so rugby. Do I like rugby? I do like rugby. Is that a problem? Cricket also. I'm a fan of. Both excellent sports. If I will say this. I will say, yeah. That's. I will say that. Hey, thank you very much and enjoy. Okay, so what are we doing? We're doing boring stuff, people. I'm so sorry for you coming in, and we're doing boring maintenance. So I hope you're going to find something worthwhile in the whole thing. Basically, we're running a Vite-Node, which is Vite running on the server, and currently, I think this is going to fail. Oh, it worked. Let's try something else. Test fixtures, basic. That raises an interesting question, why it fails with one and not the other. Let's see. This should fail. Should not work. Why did it work? Okay, what about, is the issue runtime compiler? Cool. This is ridiculous. This should be failing. Okay, so what is the, unless some fix has been merged upstream, that would be very, very nice. So a test which has failed here is Ubuntu dev Vite. So I should be able to run this and reproduce. Yes, Nuxt dev has arguments. You can pass a root directory. So if you want to see what arguments exist, so you can have a look at this commands dev here, and it has a range of different arguments. So All of the Nuxt commands have a root directory as their first argument, which specifies where the Nuxt project is. So you can point it to a subdirectory. You can also pass .env information, like what file to load. You can set a log level. So, whether it's loud or tells you everything, whether to copy the URL to the clipboard, Bootsman, hello, or open it in the browser, or configure the port host, etc., etc. So there's a lot of stuff there. Okay, this is the runtime compiler, and it was in, so vtest run runtime compiler. Okay, so the aim is basically to iron out bugs in a range of PRs, and the PRs are in particular these. And I'm just going to rename this. So this is going to be, this URL is going to be our task list, and I'm just going to pop it up there so I've got it. And so we have got a couple here to merge before we release 3.7 later today. npx playwright install. Please tell me this is going to be super fast. This is why I love the cloud. Okay. Runtime compiler. Bootsman, thank you. Okay, what is this? Okay, yes, we can do that as well. And what a terrible way of printing out this information. Okay, we get rid of all of those and try that. Nope. I honestly, I moved to Arc from Firefox, which had a couple of irreplaceable features for me, like different browsing profiles. And actually, I rejected Arc a couple of times before I realized that it actually supported that as well. Having a separate profile I can switch to if I want to do sort of personal things, because I have multiple Google accounts, for example. I don't want to leak stuff. I don't want to run everything together. Come on, let's actually run this thing. Because this is saying, maybe it only occurs in the browser. Maybe it's not the initial request. Maybe it's the module request that is needed to... This is passing. I wonder... I'm very much sort of hoping that magically this has been solved by, because the only thing I've really done is done some lock file updates. So I'm fingers crossed that magically the failing tests there are resolved by some upstream change, and that there was some bug that is now resolved. So that's what I'm hoping for. Let me just check the diff. So if I check the diff with here, no, not with there. If I check the diff with here, and have a look at the lock file, Vite, is there a new version of Vite node? Yeah, no. New version of vtest, a new version of Vite node. So I'm hoping that maybe that is the issue. So if I were to lock me back down to a different version of Vite node, Vite node 0.33.0, And let's see if that makes a difference to our test failing. Okay, I have another thing to do. Sorry, any raiders who still stayed, well done. This is not the coolest stuff in the world. Let's just see if the test passes or fails. Really, really hoping. Really, really hoping, people. Oh no, it doesn't. That's a shame, because it means it's not that. We'll keep an eye on it and see what it is. Anyway, this has been updated, so we can track the progress of the CI while we move on to something else. Our task list next. We want to introduce tree-shakeable import meta build flags. So this is a great PR from Lucas Vargas, but it is weirdly not passing. Oh, well, welcome. You don't have to. I love the fact that you're here, and you should ask me some questions. I'm totally up for doing something different as well if you have a good idea. Right. So we want to first do a bit of a merge. It is crazy. Honestly, from my point of view, I genuinely do not know why anybody comes to listen to me. So it's really nice that you do, but I genuinely do not. Anyway, not meaning to do anything by it. Okay, we'll have to remember that change, and that change, and that change, and that change, and we basically need to swap all of these out with import meta.prerender. Okay, that should be a reasonable merge. There we go. Tina, welcome. And your favorite tool, do you mean Nuxt? Because that is nice of you to say. Yeah, the little coder, that's probably the main reason. I get that for sure. Right. Okay. So, this is still going to fail, right? Hey, Messi. So, what failed last time? So this failed on pretty much all fixtures. No, it didn't. Yeah, on all fixtures. It passed type check, which of course was true. But it didn't work on built or dev. And basically, I think that was on the server side. Because so this PR is basically adding new flags. Import meta.client and import meta.server and a few others. And moving us away from the node-centric process.client and process.server, which I think is a really nice pattern. Oh, do you two know each other? Oh, it's always nice. Like there's a bit of a network and a community. Like it's all sort of, it's different folk around. Okay, yeah, is this right? Some of these are legitimate, like deliberate errors that we're trying to test for in the suite, so it does make it look a little bit broken, but hey, PS Arc. Well, you'll be happy to see what browser I'm using. Oh, for goodness sake. I hate a flaky CI with just like one failed PR test. It's not fun. But thank goodness for just rerunning failed jobs. I remember when that came out, and before it was an even greater pain. How long have I been working on Nuxt? So not that long. So basically I yeah, nothing beats console log. But yes, so process.client or process.server at the moment. And soon, when this PR merges, import.meta.client and import.meta.server. And those are statically replaced at build time, which means they can tree shake code. If you put that around a code block, the code inside will be removed on the build that is not on that server, not in that position. So that is a very, very, very useful thing to know. How long have I been working on Nuxt? So basically, before this, I had a small startup, which a SaaS startup, and I was contributing to Nuxt, and then I was asked to go on the core team, and about the same time, I also shut down my startup and was starting to look for my next role. And basically, I was asked would I like to sort of focus full time on Nuxt, and so I did. And that was probably about 2.5 years ago, maybe 2.5 years ago, probably. So, which is about also the time I became a core team member. So it's not that long, basically. It doesn't feel that long to me, but I guess 2.5 years is quite a while in the web development world. Absolutely, I love Nuxt modules, and I think I love the fact that it can just. Thank you. I love the fact that it can just you can just implement an entirely different workflow in a module without needing to change the core framework, so that it makes it really extensible for people with cool ideas. I think that it doesn't have to be this big either or. Although obviously I'm always glad to implement something in core as well if it's the right thing. Okay, so it is failing now. Now both of these tests were passing locally. So why is that? So this one is the tree shakeable import meta flags, and I've also pushed that, and I also want to know whether this one will pass or fail, because again it's passing locally. Let me just run the full test suite. Yeah, that is very much what we want to be, for sure. So I'm not an employee, but I am sponsored. I'm sponsored by quite a few people and companies too. And the chief sponsor is Nuxt Labs, which is a company. They're not building, the main thing they do is not build Nuxt. They actually are building other products on top of Nuxt. And they sponsor me to work on the framework. And they also sponsor Anthony Fu and Puya Parsa and others too in the community. So there is a sort of security there, but it's not like being an employee. And for sure, if you were talking about a choice between open source and making money, I hope I'm not wrong to say I could certainly, I would think it would be more there would be greater remuneration in doing a different, like in working for a company. But I get a lot out of working in open source. I like it. I like the people. I like working with people. I like collaborating and building this thing together. It feels meaningful to me. So it's not purely about money, because you are right that if that is the sole question you're asking, then probably I wouldn't be in open source. But yes, open source, it's something that you can come to believe in, right? It's something that well, I'm on board with open source. Right, so why did things fail? Oh, well, interestingly, we don't have nearly the failures we had before, only 3 Windows failures. No, two Ubuntu ones again. Okay, now I am running Ubuntu, so I should be able to reproduce that. Okay, let's pop out here. This test is further through, so we can grab the test in the making. So but thank you for your kind words. Okay, so this is saying that we have this failing, which is we're running which fixture? Runtime compiler. Oh, this is just a timeout. I say just a timeout, but it is obviously a timeout. What about this one? Also a timeout. Hey, Florent. This is also... This is interesting. Windows failures are always more tricky to debug. If you can hear its tiny voice crying out, then yes, that is my little one. How much time do I spend on coding? Quite a lot of time, probably. Thank you, Florent. So basically, because I enjoy it. So I tend to do it like a lot of the day. As in, I do it to relax as well. Yeah, precisely. Okay, we think we have test environment. I've got test env is dev, btest run, and this one was runtime compiler. Okay, let's try that. Whoa, whoa, that's so kind. Goodness. Now, when you do that, do you get to pick the people, or is it just random? Okay, cool. I once got it, and I twice got it from somebody else. I'm like, have they given it specifically to me? Okay, so something's wrong here. So let's just try Nuxt dev test fixtures runtime compiler, and we'll just see what happens when I have to name my Nuxties. Someone suggested, Fullstack Jack suggested Nuxtketeers, which I felt had a certain ring. Let's see. That is actually working. There must be something that isn't working. Let's try it in the browser. Console. Ah. Okay. There is something that isn't working. Specifically, if I hit, let's try _nuxt at, let's try it client. That's fine. What about app.view? Okay, that's not working. Is there an app.view? Runtime compiler. Index.view. It's also working fine. So what's not working here? Okay, well, I guess the response isn't right for a start. I bet this is something to do with the Vite update. Well, why it would be, I don't quite know. Okay, this will be something to do. I think this was something to do with ofetch. Oh, and fab skipping. So the basically, it's tricky to know what the issue is, but Cloudflare pages should work fine. So cannot convert object to primitive value. I would guess that's something to do with a package that you're using that you're not defaulting, I would guess. I think it's probably a dynamic import, and you are not doing then r dot. You're not doing this. I think. Oops. Unrecognized command then. So you're not doing. I'm going to do it this way in the hopes that it, okay, so that's actually come through. So basically that, but without the space between the arrow, is I think you probably need to do that somewhere in your code, but I don't know where, because it's not a pure Nitro issue. It will be something to do with your code, or it might even be something to do with that library, but I cannot say for sure. So if you open a reproduction, I'm more likely to be able to tell you. What is my actual job? I have a company called the Poetry Company, which is a consultancy. And I basically provide consultancy to businesses, but I do that in a very, very small proportion of my time. So I don't have a lot of time to do that, but I do a little bit of consultancy. So if you were saying, what is your actual job? Actually, I would say my actual job is probably that I'm sponsored to work on open source. And that's probably what it is. You might also have luck if you add the package you're using to build.transpile. Sorry, Flo, it's there's a link there. Right, what am I doing? I actually need to figure out what's going on here. I need to, so is the issue this client thing? What is it actually requesting? So client.ts is requesting what is it requesting? 339 host and path. Oh, this is just a ping on a WebSocket URL. And just to check, I have my latest. Let's check this. Good day, hello. What is happening? Why? Okay, I'm just going to assume that the issue here is somehow the hydration. So what is coming back? I'm getting a no, that's all in script. Basically, nothing's being rendered. That things that I would expect would be rendered aren't being rendered, and so again, we just have this. And so for some reason, the now why would this be to do with the why would this be to do with this PR? If I switch to main, what is that? Oh! Okay, right. The Vite thing was irrelevant. That was a red herring. But there is a genuine issue in that we do have this hydration mismatch in that we have components that are not rendering. So if we look in our index.view, we have basically we should render, hello world should be rendered there. It's probably our alias isn't being respected. So almost certainly if we have resolve deep imports, we are resolving our okay, let's try that. So console log ID. And just we're going to hit that again in a second. Well, that's weird. How's that not being hit at all? Maybe it has to be called in the browser. Whoa, there's lots of conversation that I've missed. I would check Luke Faps. I would check basically. You can run it. You can compile it locally with a Cloudflare Pages preset, and then run it with Miniflare. So if you do nitro underscore, if you do this nitro underscore preset equals Cloudflare Pages pm nuxty build. You will actually build that and it will tell you the command to run and you can test it locally, which may be more helpful. That will then also give you a line number where you can, I think, look at the code if it's not working so you can see what the issue is. That's definitely a good start. A blog, I would be up for, oh, this is tea. I promise, it's tea. It's tea. Basically, I always have tea in this cup. And if I have a black cup, it's coffee. Okay, there we go. So what I'm wanting, okay, if it's virtual or does that make a difference? Okay. I think it is true that we do need the const ID is resolve alias. ID Nuxt options alias. So, and I think that's reasonable. Let's just see if that makes any difference. Is this an NFC ring? This is an Aura ring. I am using Arc as my main browser, and I do like it for sure. If you want an invite link, let me know. I'm sure they're not limited anymore, right? It's open. So it is an Aura ring, which is this thing. It just tracks my sort of well-being and tells me when I am not well. How useful is the ring? This is a very good question. Who can say how useful it is? But I am enjoying it at the moment. So it helps. Thank you, Han. It is great. So I find it helpful. It tells me. Totally agree, Tina. You are right. That it makes a huge difference. I think it's helpful. It basically gives you an idea, like you're doing well physiologically, so you can stretch yourself. So go for that bigger exercise or something like that. It sits on a little finger-shaped charger, which charges it, I guess, wirelessly. So this is basically not running in the server, obviously. So let's have a look at why. Oh, for goodness sake, everything's failing. So why is this not running in the server? So we've got our Resolve Deep Imports plugin, which we are adding in both server and client. We also have this change to VeepNode, which we can maybe update as well. So we have Resolve Path, and basically ID equals Nuxt options alias Nuxt ID context Nuxt options alias. Let's see if that makes any difference. Hey, thanks, Milas. Have I tried split view? No, I don't even know what split view is. Cool. Tom, what generation are you? What do you mean, this generation Z uses way too much tech for me, I'm lost? You're not trying to pretend that you're some old generation. Like, I'm older than you for sure. Nope. Still no good. Is this what you're talking about, split view? Oh, Arc's split view. You mean like this? Yes, I love it. It's great. Yeah, like I use this. I use this all the time. Very useful for things like comparing like a quarter of a century. Unbelievable. I'm older than that. I'm just telling you that. Which you obviously know. You all know that. I'm going for wisdom. That's what I'm going for. That's what it is. Yes. It's interesting. I don't know exactly how they're going to, like, what the promise of making money is. There was also that other browser, Mighty browser. Do you remember this? And I have, like, I don't know if they launched it or not, but it claims to be, it's a cloud browser that, oh, 2 stars. It doesn't look hugely, for goodness sake. Where is it? Mighty. Oh, what's happened there? Looks like they've gone away. Oh well. Right, so we have an issue. Let's just log the ID that we're getting in. And I bet that what's happening is... that we are resolving our runtime compiler to the wrong thing. Ah, rats. Okay, I thought it looked interesting. Yes, okay. This is what we want. And still not working. So basically the issue, let's see, we have the things that we're trying to resolve coming in. And basically for Vue, we want to resolve some of these, I think. So some of them should be resolved when we have external view. So external view is false. So basically if we have external view, then these get passed to inline. It's fine. Oh, I wonder if the issue is that actually it's the other way around, that they are being resolved. And I very possibly am. You are probably right. Okay, let's just see if this makes any difference. So I'm going to do beginning of the line or a forward slash. And then we do the same with view. And we'll do again end of the line or forward slash. And we'll do the same with view there. Okay, let's try that. The IDE font, that's, it's amazing. It's really good. No, absolutely. Why do they, like a web browser, surely you want that to be generic. I do think that the only thing there is, like, if you have the possibility of greater integration with your Did I make a change to that? So, okay, so we have, this is interesting. So this is resolved. Okay, runtime compiler. What have we got? We have got runtime compiler true. Runtime compiler being true, we make these changes. Okay, trace include, that's fine. But we also set these aliases in nitro. Well, that shouldn't make a difference. So in fact, there are no aliases, so it's not going to be that, although I do think we should respect the alias resolution. But the issue might be something else. So is the issue that because we are resolving it, it could still be nitro. Okay, let's see. So if we push this alias, and that is coming through here, and view doesn't seem to be looked up. It's possible I didn't save those, so let's just test that again. And then I would very much like to see I'd very much like to see if ID includes view console log ID and results. I will do another Nuxt module stream. A couple of people actually asked for that, and I think it's a really good idea. Okay, so basically here are our view resolutions. So I would expect when this is also including our view components. But I would expect when we have view itself that, okay, so it's coming back null. View index, because that's actually not correct. So evidently, so this resolve alias isn't actually going to work because it's not the vit alias that's coming in. So I wonder if we have to pass another alias in here. Do we have an alias possibility? So we actually want context. This is our server option config alias. No. Config alias. Resolve alias. Nitro works for React. So take a look at this. It would be faster. Okay, so that was it actually. But take a look at this video, and you will see how to build a React meta framework on top of Nitro, or configure it for that. Rats. Okay, so and I'll basically match view. What? What are you talking about? What do you mean I have legs? Are you talking to me? Are you talking to somebody else? I'm very confused. So, okay, so we have our alias. View is not in there. Interesting. So where is this config coming from? So Vite node. Vite node should be instantiated oh, it's being pulled in. Okay, so it's not going to be in this context. It needs to be in context. Like server.config.resolve.alias. That's probably the actual one that was resolved. So let's try that. In the video. Oh, I see. Yeah, I know. Craziness. Okay. Cool. This is probably non-existent. I see. Right. And that is actually, it's converted everything to these find replacement patterns. Do we have view? We do. Okay, so basically, let's just do a very, very quick. So function resolve. I wonder if there's actually a Vite alias thing, but if we have an ID, what we want to do is for const pattern in this, if of this should be a if pattern dot find equals type of pattern dot find is string let's see if ID equals starts with I don't exactly know how this is done. Is there a Vite resolve alias thing? What's the wrong link? It starts with pattern find ID equals this. I shouldn't be doing this, right? This should already happen by the time I come here, but for some reason, well, I'll just to okay, if type of pattern, I guess we know for sure it's a regex at this point. Else, if ID pattern.find test ID, then that seems reasonable. I don't know exactly how many people actually watch me. Still not. Oh, we're not doing anything with it. This is poor. Like, this is not the right solution. But I just want to see if this is like, if this gets me closer to the actual problem. I don't think so. So I don't want to log that. I want specifically to see what we have resolved. If this doesn't work, I'll have to compare it back with main. Wait. But yeah, that's not working. And it's not working because of my poor pattern. I'll just say if ID equals. So what is Nitro? Nitro is a framework for building servers. So it it's this. So it is it's very, very straightforward to get going. It offers a lot of universality, so you can quickly build servers. And you can build things on top of it that need servers, like Nuxt we build on top of Nitro. Analog, which is an Angular framework, is built on top of Nitro, and perhaps more. So it's great. Use it. Give it a try. Why is this not working? Oh, somehow this vanished. Try it again. We are resolving it. The thing is, this is only responsible for whether we should externalize something. And it's much lighter and much faster than Express as well. And it has like built-in support for key value storage or like databases, but which are abstracted, so they're not bound to any one provider. It can also be deployed to the edge, and rats. Okay, I'm going to take a break from this, and have because the whole point of today is to get things ready to go with Nuxt 3.7. So I'm just going to take a quick look at some other issues, and then we'll come back to this one. So in Nitro land, this is okay. We have got some updated changes. Great. Additional notes. This is the other part of the async local storage support. I'm glad this is good. Okay, that all looks fine. Nothing to say there. I can take a look at this PR, which I think Bui has responded to. Yeah. Could I link to which issue? And yes, a tea break is a very good idea. Which issue, Reaper? This one? Or the async local storage one? Oh, the one I was struggling with. Yeah, absolutely. This. So this, as far as I can tell, this works in actual built projects, but it's not working right now in this repository, and I'm not entirely sure why. So I'm just trying to figure out what the issue is. Any idea is very welcome. Okay, tea break. 5 minutes, I'll be back. And charge yourselves up. You're probably not going anywhere, but I will go somewhere. I'll grab some tea. I'll be back. Okay, I am back. Rerun failed jobs. Every time I see that, I feel judged. I feel judged is what I feel. Okay. Right. What is happening? Reaper's presumably fixed something. Have you fixed it, Reaper? That's what I want to know. Was it exactly 5 minutes? So, perfect. Lies. Tom lives on the edge, so he is able to tell us exactly how long things are. Okay, I think I've been debugging this all in the wrong way, because I've been diving into thinking I know what the issue is, which is the alias, whereas I haven't actually been diving into the code changes. So the code changes here are, we add some conditions there. That might be the issue. So let's just remove them and not make any other changes and see whether that makes a difference. So that's the first thing. The second thing is that we add the plugin, and I can remove that as well, but it doesn't seem to be run on the server. So, for goodness sake. That doesn't seem to do anything. Okay, so it doesn't seem that. So we add build plugin here in what is it? I'll just add Vite plugin. Okay, so we add it here. Resolve deep paths, deep imports. So remove that. And so the question is, does this do anything? Because it shouldn't now. Like this is fully back, except for these external changes. So let's just have a look. Does that do anything? It still doesn't work. Okay. Well, that's really interesting to know, because it means that it must then be the external changes, these. So if I get rid of that change, then hopefully, no. That's weird. Let's just check. Okay, so the changes that this PR makes, not this one. The change that this PR makes is that it adds these explicitly, that it switches this from resolve module to resolve path, okay, and that it adds the plugin and resolves main component. Okay, so let's switch back to resolve module in Vite node and use that instead. Okay, let's try that. Still not. Now at this point, I'm a little surprised. Let's revert that change. We've commented that out. This is irrelevant, therefore. Commented that out, and we have reverted this to the previous behavior. Oh, and we've added a catch. Interesting. I'm just going to commit this all as work in progress, switch to main, and let's see if we can replicate this thing. This shouldn't be difficult. This is not a complex thing. Like, we should be able to solve this. And so I'm sorry if it's taking too long, basically. Let's run the code again. Let's run the request. This should succeed. Yeah, that's succeeding. Let's go back to the deep path resolution. And let's just confirm we aren't doing it. Oh, maybe this? Okay, let's do bit by bit. So module, we have get directory, and we added a module. And let's test that one. And undo our last commit. We basically want to, one by one, revert our changes. Aha, that seems to have been it. Okay, so if we then add the plugin again, if we add the externals, and if we revert the changes to Vite node, what happens? It works. Okay, if we then leave that out, and I think we can probably keep that in, those changes. Basically say fix don't add modules. I think this actually might be something more to do with, let's just see what it was adding, because I think it might have to do with the fact that we're in our monorepo again. Let's just log this in here. Okay. And it was adding, I see, that was not a modules directory. So we actually want to, in this case, see if this still works. Ha. Okay, so the issue was not the fact that we were adding it, it was the fact that we were not checking that it was correct. So fix kit check directory exists. Broadly speaking, yes. It's not 100% guaranteed it will be the 1st of January, but basically we want to do it every year, so that's going to be the general pattern. Okay, cool. In fact, we could actually check that it exists. So I think it's just, is it resolved or not? Because you've already checked whether it exists in the get directory function. And here, fix resolve aliases and skip. Okay, just check, fetch origin, get merge origin name, beautiful, push. Fingers crossed. Okay, next one. That was the issue. It was a lot faster when I started from the code and worked backwards rather than figuring out, thinking I knew what it was. Okay, so let's try this one then. And let RCI run the test. Okay, so if we head tree shake in, so here what isn't working? Nothing is working for some reason, but it was working for me locally. It's the composables test. I think it is our Nuxt one there rather than the actual Vite test. So if I run vtest run test fixtures test Nuxt, yeah, or what is it, test runtime, I think that's going to replicate the issue here. Right, so this is the problem. Entry is not a function, and it's not a function basically because these replacements that we're doing are not happening. So the replacements are, we're replacing import meta dot client and import meta dot server, and that's clearly not happening in here. So let's try setting define import meta.client true and import meta.server false. Let's see if that makes a difference. It does. Seems to be something we need to fix upstream in so we have client, we have server, we also have pre-render. Don't know if that's relevant here. But I think that must be what it is. Why is this not? There we go. Add definitions within test config and git fetch. Okay, see if that makes a difference. Okay, so we have two that are running. Now I'm just going to quickly dip into this vtest update because this is something that's affecting others as well. So git clone Daniel Rowe vtest environment Nuxt. Oh, vtest. Open folder. And basically we have an issue here where we need to update vtest, and there's obviously some work we have to do as part of that because it's failing, but it's affecting Nuxt as well down the line. So we have our test packages update, let's install it, and the issue seems to be that there's a type issue. That's a pretty minor one. Okay, let me just dedupe in case it's something else. And the issue is in source index. We have a type error somewhere. Okay, I've deduped some stuff. Do we have multiple instances of vtest? No? Okay, what's the problem? Just restart TypeScript just in case it's just been fixed by the install. It isn't. So this means that we have transform mode is required in type environment. Okay, so this is a vtest change, obviously, and it will be in the release notes. Okay, transform only affects test files. Transform mode is now moved. If you have a custom environment, it should provide a transform mode. Okay. Web is obviously what we want. Okay. Dedupe lock file and fix provide web transform mode. And test. Hey, Landswave. Okay, this is another issue. Why is this? Failed to load config. This might just be in, I might have just not prepared the project. So I've installed the project, build, and then let's try the tests. Hey, welcome. I can answer both of your questions with the same link, which has the answers here. Depths inline. Okay, this is what other people are getting when they're using it. So we have depths and we have inline, and we want server depths inline, or depths optimizer SSR include. So depths optimizer SSR include. Let's see if this works. I'm not 100% convinced it will. Okay, I see it has to be strings. And we need server depths inline. And that's, okay. I bet this is actually what we want, but let's just see. Oh, I probably need to rebuild it. Yeah, probably it is time to build a Twitch bot. But how much time would I really save by building the Twitch bot versus providing the type? Okay, that's fine. At least it's still working, but we need the environments. So is it not provided? Do we need an environment subpath? It is. Oh, does it need a... It is provided. Oh, it's not provided by vtest, but it is. So why would that not work? Oh, it's resolving it somehow in a CJS environment. Why is this being pulled in? So vtest environment Nuxt is being imported in a CJS way. Whereas I think we need to fully remove any kind of build output that is CJS. So which I think will highlight the issue for me. And anything else that's CJS? What is this? Oh, that's vtest itself. Okay, let's try it again. It seems to be coming from Okay, let's revert these changes, all of them, even the config change. And that's interesting. Well, let me guess the issue is here. Okay, so we're going to go back and move those in. And we should also maybe say, what was the other depths optimizer? Optimizer SSR include. And I think we can maybe move those, the vtest environment Nuxt maybe could go in there. No. Cannot find module app entry. Let's try that. I'm a bit worried for my cats. Just give me a sec. The cat is fine, but it was being chased by a dog, so. Hey. Am I resolving this anywhere? I see. It might be I have to, or maybe I don't want to include it. Do I have an exclude? I think we're doing okay, but it is fair of you to ask. We are in the weeds of, let's see. I'm going to try building it again and seeing if that makes a difference. Okay, I need to obviously add that cd packages vtest environment Nuxt. We need UFO, and we also need something else. What else was inlined? Local package, which we use in that as well. Okay. Well, we'll add those anyway. Otherwise, they're going to be inlined. This It doesn't seem to resolve the issue. We can't find... Oh, I think the issue is that I'm including it there. I think actually I just need to move this here, where it was before, and drop it out of there. Yeah, we're back to the same issue we had before. Okay, the issue again is that this is being imported in a CJS context rather than fix what link? Oh, pin it, you mean? Okay, pin. Okay, so unless you mean there's an issue with it. So the issue, this does need to be inlined. Is there anything else we can move into depths? Anything else we can move into depths optimizer? Include. I don't think we can move Nuxt itself or any of these other things into there because they might have runtime dependencies, like they might depend on aliases and so on. Okay. Okay, so something is importing vtest environment Nuxt, and it's doing that in a CJS context. Is this the issue? No, that's an alias. And of course, that's why it can't import vtest environments. And vtest environments is, we have a require option for the basic one, but not for the environments. Config, CJS, but not environments. So vtest environment Nuxt. Presumably, the point is that by including it here, it's being processed in a CJS way. This may be a little bit more complicated. Migrate to server depths inline. I'll push all of that up anyway. It should build now. come back to that in a second. Where are we with Nuxt? Yeah, this isn't going to work at the moment. So I think I'm just going to close it for now until we get the Nuxt vtest up and running with the new version of vtest. Okay, what's going on with these PRs? So I was honestly expecting better things. Okay, Windows. Aha! So it's just Windows now that isn't working with this one, which probably means we just need to add a normalization step in the process, which is, that's very straightforward if that's all the issue is. So where are we? We are resolving paths there. And so we just need to normalize it, I think. Okay. I'm just going to optimistically do this. It shouldn't be related to that or that, but I think optimistically it could be here. I'm sure if I were to fire up a Windows VM, it would destroy the stream. So I think I'm just going to, again, try this. So we'll try, we are awaiting it anyway. So we can, I think, is the issue maybe so at this point, the ID shouldn't be, maybe it's the importer that needs to be. Maybe. Let's try this. I feel like I'm doing open heart surgery without actually having any way of, like, by remote control. I'm hoping this is going to solve the issue, but I have really no idea. So fix normalize importer before testing node modules. So let's just confirm that pass node module path doesn't actually do that already, which it might do. Pass node module path, it doesn't normalize it, so it won't be that. So it should instead be maybe the ID. Now resolve alias will directly return it does normalize it. Okay, so that should already normalize it. I'll just do this for safety. Except that won't. Let me just check what that is going to do. Okay, good. So it doesn't do anything then. Julian, hello. Welcome. Let's see if there's any other possibility of somewhere that needs to be resolved. Oh. Okay, I'm just going to fire that up as a possible solution. For some reason, arc has chosen to hang. Okay. Well, okay, we're back on. Let's see. Hopefully that will do something. Back to tree shaking, import meta env. Okay, and here, I thought it was just a test failure, but it might not be. Let's see what failed. I think a lot of things. Everything. Oh, autofix failed. So I've probably left an import. A comma. I left a comma. Okay. Okay, so there's that. And please tell me that was not the cause of all the other test failures. No, we still have that. So basically we need to this is actually in the test fixtures as well. And therefore, I'm not sure why this is. No, it's still the same one. Okay, why is it not working then? I thought it worked locally. Well, it definitely doesn't work. Okay, so refreshable. And yeah, the issue is import meta.server. Okay, so we have this, import meta.server. And this is happening in Nuxt root. And we have import meta.server being used. And the issue, I guess, is that is not, where is it? Here. Oh. Well, that's weird, isn't it? I'm not sure why that was working anyway. Right, let's try that one more time. Okay. Well, that would be nice if that's all that it takes. Fix don't destructure falsy value. Daniel, hello. Is linting a chore or a fix? So I will often mark it as a chore or a style. That's personally what I do. Unless I didn't do it there. Did I not do it there? Fix. That is a fix, though. But a fair thing, I think, like, it just matters. I think a fix is something that fixes your code, like fixes a bug or something that was wrong. But often linting, even unused imports, it's not a fix. There's no bug if it's in there. It doesn't actually change anything, not once it's built. So I wouldn't regard that as a fix, just a style. Right. Daniel, you should actually book that call and we should talk about that. Right, okay, so that's pushed. Where are we next? Task list. We have got hopefully 2 CIs running. This is almost ready to go because it's been merged upstream as well. I think in Nitro. We have experimental composition API support, which is great. It'd be nice to be able to use composition API style utilities in Nitro on the purely server side. Right, what is happening next? These two can merge. Okay, so next is, well, I'm not sure whether that's the best. Yeah, that's what I do. I do style. Okay, I think time to look at Nitro, and in particular, quite a nice pull request, but we just need to confirm that we're happy with things, and I want to test it with Nuxt. So basically we have this pull request. Get and I'm switching to our local upgrade PR. And in the root, we have our resolutions, which I'm just going to stick NitroPack in here. File. And it is NitroPack. Oops, I want to be in, yeah. Hey, Aussie boy. Okay. The live counter starts at a negative number. Interesting. What is the live counter? I can't wait for it either. That is true. That is the case. Okay, so I want to check that the whole reason what I'm doing right now is I just want to check that the type inference that I have been working on upstream in Nitro works here. So what I'm going to do is just run Nuxt prepare test fixtures type basic types, and we should then have this type test, and I'm expecting it to all fail. If it doesn't, I'll be pleased. It doesn't fail. Great. This is a non... Okay, what's this? I think this is not related. Well, that's very cool. Okay. Let's see. Use fetch. So I want to be able now to do some what do I want to be able to do? Oh, the count. How long I've been live streaming for? I have been live streaming for 2 hours and 10 minutes, I think, according to like my own computer. I cannot say with regard to Twitch, but definitely not negative. Julian, tell me what you want to include, because particularly I want to know about that. Oh, for goodness sake. Please tell me. Okay, it's still running. This one is also still running, but some have failed. On Windows. I might have to open that. Unsupported URL scheme. Well, that's a useful received protocol D. Oh, this is excellent. It's encoded in here. So we're resolving it to a URL. Check out this. I haven't actually done anything with this myself, but Alex Ellis is doing some really interesting stuff with OpenFAS. If you have not come across it, where is it? So inlets is great. So this is lets you get tunnels into your GitHub Actions, and you can actually debug and see what's going on. So that is for sure worth trying out. That's cool. But there's also is it inlets that does it? This is not what I'm looking for. He's created another project. It may be inlets. But inlets came out of another project he had, which was basically a way of running GitHub Actions, like powered by GitHub Actions, but on your sort of own infrastructure. And so I would check it out. So he's definitely done some interesting stuff, but let's see if we can self-actuated. That's what it's called. Faster, fully isolated GitHub Actions. So I would check it out. It might be that there's something. So Nuxt is a bit of a different story because we're open source. So open source projects on GitHub have a much higher limit, I think. But we just use normal GitHub Actions. Okay. So the good news is basically, I think there's nothing here that's not working with types. Yeah, I know. I mean, because I basically, it was the big thing for me with, so I had set up a sort of elaborate GitLab CI/CD pipeline with sort of custom Kubernetes sort of runner, and it was all really good. It was working well for us. Switched to GitHub Actions, and there was a much higher actions limit. And then later they lowered it on the free tier, and even on the team tier, because I paid for my company, and that was a bit of a shame. It made a significant difference for us, because we had originally moved because it seemed to make sense. So it definitely, and then every month, I was hitting the limit and over it, and immediately it does become very, very expensive. You're right. I would certainly be looking at some kind of self-hosted solution, unless you can afford it. And there are also a lot of ways of decreasing GitHub action time. So looking at things like Turborepo or NX. Great. Okay, so types are fully passing in with our local changes. So I just now want to see whether I can make them better. Okay, so we have some internal types that also need to be updated. Let's see. Fetch is basically untyped now. So and these changes are well, that's strange. Oh, I see. Yeah, ow, that is painful. Oh, I see. R is of type unknown. That's probably an H3 thing. Why would that be of type unknown? R is coming from event fetch. Oh, I guess. That? We want to return Welcome, Mehmet. Everyone tell him. Tell him. I did right. I took a break. It was okay. Okay. So this is interesting. This may be an issue. So basically event fetch is coming back here. So okay, because event fetch is actually defined as either fetch or fetch raw or global .fetch. So it could return a lot of different things. So basically in event fetch this should return a, yeah, okay, that's what it is. So in this case, it should be a response. And in that case, it's that. So that's what's going on. That's why I need to handle that. And yeah, and I do need to affirm that it is going to return a response. Okay, so that means we should then get this is either or that. So it should have headers. Okay, that is a legitimate fix, and all of this is good. A good change. Fix explicitly type fetch responses, and in here, I guess we have to allow for a generic for fetch, even if it isn't needed. So I think we probably do need to fix this. Okay. So here we want to go into types, and we have our $fetch type, and this needs to be generic again. So we're going to say default is unknown, and what was the other option? Okay, so that prevents it from breaking, backwards breaking, and if I provide a response, it should tell you what the let's see. I want to go to test fixture pnpm init and pnpm nitro dev test fixture, and I want to run my type test. Hey, Mikhail. Oh, what is this? Oh, I think it's because I added back the... what's going on? Oh, well, that should be fine. I should be writing some types here. And that should be fine. It's this change that I've made, I think, that's the problem. Let's just stub it again. What? Oh. Okay. So I think the issue was providing the generics again. No, yeah. So these 10 are expected errors. And they're just basically for these merged these union types, which is an issue I need to sort of solve somehow. Okay, so internal fetch has t unknown, and we could basically say is unknown. Okay, that's fine, and we can pop that back in here. And I will say basically internal fetch should therefore be typed as default response. Oh, I think maybe it's like this. There we go. And also, sorry, what am I doing? Who can say? Daniel's gone round the bend. He's doing things with types. So basically, I made a change which I don't want to do. It's a breaking change to the fetch types. Not a big breaking change, but I removed the generics for it, and I don't want to do that. So that's the response, that's the request, and basically what we want to have for our internal fetch is some specific generics. So we need to basically add them back. So default fetch request is this, and basically we can add it in there and pick it here. I think that's right. And so then we just pull it in down here and we say exactly the same generic. There we go. And I should be able to pull that in down here like this. Wait, what have I done? Okay, what have I copied for a start? There. And we want to do the same there. Okay. So I think I've added back the types that I removed. So fix, restore generic defaults for fetch. Let's just pack it up. And check it out on Nuxt. Oops. Interesting. So fetch with event is taking something as request info or URL. So maybe we need to accept that as well in our fetch types. So at the moment, we require that in $fetch. We accept, so we're currently saying it has to be this. So it could also be a URL. Is that enough to fix it? No. It might also be a request is request string or URL. And it needs to be, it might be a request info. What do you mean it can't be might not be a URL? Request info or URL, I guess. We could try that. No. Oh, do we have to provide a... Yeah, we have to say what it has to be. So basically, extends string request info or URL. What background? Oh, on the desktop. I think it's currently a raycast one. So these, one of these. Right. Okay. So, right, we need to, and I'm not above putting like an as in here, but specifically, I think we need to provide the proper constraint because it will affect things in other places. So it needs to be a request info or a URL. I think that's the constraint we need to operate under. So I probably just have to add it in another place. So maybe in internal fetch. Needs to say that. Is that going to make the difference? As any, yeah, right. But the issue is if someone else is using this in their project, like I would do as any if it's just internally, but oh, I think this might be a bug in fetch with event in H3. This isn't an issue in these types. This is an issue in H3. So basically, it needs to constrain it to be this. Where is underscore? It's not being used. Or is it? It's saying R. Fetch with event is, let's see, we have something R equals. R is default fetch request. Ah, it's here. This is what we need to set it up. Okay. There we go. Okay, so we're back now. So that app should not change. We've just added some constraints here, and specifically we've added that it could be a URL. Let's try string, and let's just search for this in case I have this anywhere else. We probably need to do the same at this point. And let's build. Ooh, are there cow wallpapers? I didn't know there were cow wallpapers. That is a nice wallpaper. Is it just one wallpaper? Or are there more pages to this PDF? Maybe details. Cool. That's fun. That's nice. Okay, type check. Oh, what is that? Hopefully that pm test types. Great. That's all. Those are the 10 types errors I'm mistaking. I'm expecting to be wrong. Let's just test my types again. Types in the fixture, I guess. Yep, that's all fine. Fix. Request info is request info includes a URL? No, it extends. Cool. Fix. Request should extend URL request info. All my knowledge. Which is not necessarily very extensive, but everything that I know, I know because kind people have sort of pitched in and helped me explore things. But I think it feels to me like most just sort of exploring and figuring things out, and a lot looking in node modules and debugging, and a lot of mistakes, I think is the answer. Okay, we're just going to build this project again and test it in Nuxt, and hopefully that generic issue should go away. Hopefully. That is very kind of you. Okay, back in Nuxt. Okay, great. So we should now be able to undo that change and test. This is basically anything that you know well enough. Like it looks is probably crazy to other people, but it doesn't mean that it's difficult. You just get there gradually by diving into it. Because I've been doing Nuxt for a long time, so stick me on a project that's not Nuxt, and it might look a little bit different. So I would always say that the danger is always, like, we all have imposter syndrome, right? We all do. And that is typically because we are an expert in the thing we are an expert in. And the other person is an expert in something that we're not an expert in. So if you look at them, they always seem to be better. Well, but of course they are. They're better at that thing that they're doing. But it doesn't mean they would be better if they were doing the thing that you're doing. And so I often feel this. Like, I'm diving into Vite or Rollup or whatever. Doesn't mean I know anything, like in an unfamiliar code base. It's a totally different thing. So I would just take these kinds of things with a massive, massive pinch of salt. Right. Okay. So what are we on? This is nice, by the way. I will save that. So we are in, all these red X's make me nervous. This is not a red X that can be ignored. That one will have to look into Windows. I think I have an idea, and this one I also have an idea, but this is specifically built, so we might be able to figure out what that is. And finally, this one is the one we were actually looking at now, and I think we have reverted some changes here. Okay. Have I pushed? Obviously, I have pushed. But maybe this hasn't reloaded. Just reverting some changes that we don't need to have. And Great. Let's just test that everything is still good. Okay, what is this? Don't think too much. I'll also take a look at this. Okay, 142, and hopefully we'll be able to pull that down to some other things. $97.39, good. Okay, so we're basically now not making changes to the generics, we're only making changes to well, I guess this is so we can, let me just check that I still get type support when I'm doing fetch. So I'll need to add it back. I still get it. Cool. So I don't think I need to, because I'm basically the type auto typing is coming in from this. So cool. Okay, so I'm happy with this. I'll just pack it again and open it in Nuxt one more time, because now I need to see if I can improve our types within Nuxt, or to see how much work I'll have to do to improve it. I might not need as much as I'm thinking. So back in Nuxt, reinstall and stub the project. Okay, so now I need to do some tests. So basically, if I have my types fixture open in one side, oops, what's going on here? Nuxy, prepare test fixtures basic types, and probably that will solve it, but if not, reload. What are we doing? These are all very good questions. So basically, we've made some significant changes to nitro types that allow typed input. So and we did that I think last stream. So if you do something like, I'm just going to create an API here, and hopefully I'll be able to make it work. So if I had typed input, it's going to have an event handler, and we're actually going to say the body has got to have ID string, okay? And that must be the case. It's going to return a string, but it has to have ID string. Did your follow? Weird. Definitely not by me. So what we want then to be able to do in here is say, when you were doing fetch API type, I have to keep the, if I'm doing API typed input, goodness sake, okay, yeah. API typed input, it needs to actually be typed. So it is going to be typed as, if I have the options object and I have a body, it needs to be typed as ID. So this should be a type error. So if there's no body, it should be a type error. Right, and that is actually body ID is a required parameter. The fact that it isn't says that something isn't quite right, and I think that's probably because we that's a good question. Why isn't it? The get request doesn't. No, that's something we probably should do. Actually, that's something we can now do in the Nitro PR. So let's just quickly do that. So basically, in the types that we generate, well, we can certainly do it with internal ones. In fact, actually, did I do that? Let's check. Body. So we do this. Well, we can exclude it basically just for explicit get requests, which might not be good enough. But for an explicit get request, we probably could. Yes, you're right. It would need preventing. Okay, back to Nuxt. Why is this not working? So body, yeah, that's definitely failing. We've also got some other issues which we can ignore. They go away when you build the project, and they're not present in type checking. So it is really only this one at the bottom. But it means that typed input isn't working, so it's a significant one. If I check the types Nitro roots, we basically have, do we do internal API stuff? No, we have our internal fetch, and we basically have typed input, which should be inferred to be body ID string. And base fetch options has no body. So this really should be defined correctly. In fact, it is here. It is actually defined. No, it's not. Oh, it's not. I think it's probably the change I just made. It's probably the change that I just made to make it a generic string rather than one that was a string and object. I think it's removed the, okay. Not that. This request info. Request info is a request or a string. So we're just going to substitute request info for request or string like that. Okay, let's just try this again in a second. What is a request? No, request is the... Okay, let's do test types. That's fine. Packet. Okay. Let's see. Start server. And why is that not? Oh, right. I forgot. This is actually totally expected, and I don't think I need to change the issue is it doesn't produce an error, and that's the issue. It just doesn't type the response. And I think we might need to figure out how to solve that. So like it types it as unknown, unless you provide, if you provide the ID, then it will type it correctly as a string. But if you don't provide the ID, then it types it as unknown, and we need to fix that. That actually should be an error. So I think what we want to do, and this so this is something we should stick in the types here. We want to say we want to say restart TS server, and we want specifically to have what is this? 41. Why is this? Oh, it's because it's built. So we want the fetch requests for for unknown responses to come back as for incorrectly typed responses. So valid. Let's see. Well, I'm just going to type something to help me here, and whether it stays in the test suite or not, it errors when incorrect params are passed. And we basically need to do this. So I need to just create a little root. We're going to create typed input TS. We're going to create a little API root, which is going to be typed, and this is going to be typed with body. We'll make it a query in this case and say ID string. And that it's going to return a string, and there we go. And doesn't need to be async. Okay, so basically if we are then fetching typed input, I want this to be an error if I do not provide it. So that's one which isn't currently working. Then there's another with an actual response, and at the moment these are just coming back as unknown. So These are probably currently passing because they're unknowns. Wait a sec. No, that's fine. Why is that working? So the response should not be optional. Okay. Right, well, this is what I want to fix, because this should be not allowed. So if I pull open the nitro roots, I should have typed input, and that should be specifically requiring the query. And it should not be optional. So I'm not entirely sure why it is here. Do we need maybe to set the strict mode? Let's try it. I think that might actually be what it is. Fixture, we need nitro config, and we have TypeScript. We need TypeScript strict. We need to have strict, okay. So I'm not sure why that still is not working. It still thinks it's promised string, and it's pulled in the correct query, but it's just not complaining that it doesn't exist. Oh, wait a second. Is this partly it's inferring it because I'm telling it that it's a string? So that is unknown. And this one is typed as a string because it's an optional parameter. So what I would expect to say is, let's see, satisfies promise string. And I also expect this to satisfy string. Why is it's satisfying it? Because it's unknown. So I basically want to say expect type of fetch not to be unknown. What? Oh, not to be So that's the options is currently optional, which is something that we need to fix. So basically, I would expect an error here. Options must be provided when method is, well, we have to add another test for that, not get. And we also want options must be provided when input body or query are specified. So I think that should be a requirement. So this should be a type error. There we go. And then that should this also should be an error. And I think that's probably the best way to assert these things. And then actually, if we put query, this, like, we also want this to be type hinted. So now that is returning a string. And if I do 43, it's going to be unknown, but that's no good for the user. It has to be typed, right? So that is working as expected. Okay. Also needs to be type must match. Right, so we don't just fall back to unknown, we actually specifically have to fall back to a thing. Yes, there are, Sean. There are lots and lots of good places. I can give you high recommendations. And if you want to come to Durham, let me know. We should totally meet up for a coffee or something to eat. So, definitely. Okay, we'll make this work. We have to do it here, I think, in our generated types. And let's see. You were hearing German in the background, I think, rather than Italian. But yes. Right, so what we want to do, we have to generate something that is going to prevent the, so it's going to require an options object. So basically, I think, so there are a couple of ways of doing this. So one is we return a never type. We could return another type somehow, explicit with another overload. So if the options object is missing, so the issue is the way this is working is that it's going down the list. So if something doesn't match, it's going to go to the bottom. And that might actually be a problem. This might actually be a way of solving both issues. So let me just test something. Okay, so if I have a TypeScript file and I say type C is test, I probably can't have that. Can I have that? I can have that. So what I could do, and I have more than one of these things, I can. So I don't know what this is going to do. This is a bigger refactor. So and we could also require that too. We could try the same with post. So having made that change, we can actually test this. I think we need a different one. Okay, so we'll just do typed input, and we'll just do a, do we have one of these which is a post request? We have API methods index. Okay, so that also has to be an error. Okay, so these are our test cases that we want to be the case, and none of them are passing at the moment. Oh, amazing, Julian. I'll look forward to finding more about. Oh, I see, Sean. Your missus was about going down to Durham. Yeah, great. So there are lots of really nice places in Durham. So here are some that I would recommend for sure. So this is Durham, people. It is here, and it's beautiful. Like it's let's see, terrain, or maybe satellite. So it's and let's see if I can remove some of the. Can I get rid of any of this? Labels. Okay. So it's got this river going all the way around it, and it's got a castle and a cathedral in the middle. It's a beautiful place, and so there's some really nice places to eat. So there's a fantastic coffee shop, right. So this bridge is incredibly picturesque. It's called Elvet Bridge, and it looks like this. It's got this sort of lovely arches, and on that there's an amazing burger place called Tango, which is there. There's a great little coffee shop called Flat White Thing. Oh yeah, that street food place. It's just over here in one of these buildings, and it's really nice. It's a great place, and there's some other nice restaurants alongside it. But by far the best restaurant in Durham is called Course, and it is just up this street, I think. And it's amazing. But yes, there are a lot of amazing places. So do get in contact. Like, drop me a DM. Right. So. Okay, we are going to. So I'm going to add this test fixture, and and okay, that doesn't resolve it. Of course, it doesn't resolve it. Should revert the change. So let's see if we can come up with a different solution to the. Okay, so we currently have our internal API, which we are using. So I think let's stick to our internal API. But we're going to merge the two. So these are our, internal API, and then we use the root types, and those have the method and then the return types. So basically what we would want to do is do the same thing, the path, and then the fetch signatures. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to that. I'll let that percolate in the back of my mind. Let's see. The tree shakeable import meta flags and the unresolved node modules. Let's try this one first because it's just a couple of Windows ones. So I'm going to commit these two. Actually, I'll commit it all. And switch to the other. Okay, So what we want to do is it's providing a URL to Windows, and Windows doesn't want a URL somewhere. So I think this is very, very straightforward to find, I suspect. So let's just check. I think the built one is probably an erroneous. That's probably a flaky test. It's probably these two dev ones which are the issue. And it's passing in a protocol D. So it needs a file URL, and it's getting an absolute URL. And so that is going to be somewhere in dev mode. So it's hey, thanks. So it'll be in dev mode, and it will probably therefore be in Vite node. And this is probably returning, let's just see what that is. So if we open Vite node, and it might be resolve path and resolve path. So before we were using resolve. So resolve path returns file URL to path. Okay, and before we're using resolve, which returns a file URL. Okay, so that is the problem. So in here, we can simply do this. Actually, I think we can just use resolve as before. And we'll just say that. Fix use file URL in Vite node and push that up. Okay, I think that is it. Let's see. It's always tricky when you're making blind changes. What's planned for 3.7? Some very nice changes. So support for PNPM without shamefully hoist, native request response objects in Nitro, support for sending web streams. We have some nice fixes. Unpin, like you're almost too late. I'm probably just about to pack up shop because it is just after 5. It's 20 minutes past 5 at mine. So I have gone on probably a little bit too long. But I will just very quickly see, is there anything I can do with this before I go? What are those fixes? Okay, test fixtures, Webpack. This is all Webpack. Oh, that's cool. If we're all Webpack, then we've solved the Vite side of things. This is going to be an easier job, I think. So what is going on here? What's the matter? Temporarily unavailable with the runtime compiler side of things. So this should be like what changes have I made that affect Webpack. It's not me, it's Lucas, but so we should have made changes to Webpack here. Browser, client, server. But also, if it's Webpack, I should be able to reproduce it locally, easily. And so that's Ubuntu and Windows. So let's just try test env is Webpack, pnpm nuxt dev, and it's built. It is built. So build test fixtures basic. Okay, that built, or maybe it's test builder. Yeah. Why did that build? Okay, what's... Oh, it's the... it might have built, but the issue is, does it run? Okay. I don't want to kill code. Yeah. Oh. Okay, so the thing that isn't working is this. Is there a specific test that's failing? Entry is not a function. Okay, that's fine. So that actually should be, but it's only runtime compiler. Okay, so something very similar to what we saw with Vite. So it's probably not this one, it's the runtime compiler. So let's try instead runtime compiler, and we'll run it. Oh, I'm getting distracted. I really should end the stream. Like, it's been so much fun. But I should probably say goodbye and go and play with my little kit. It has been a lot of fun though. So thank you for joining. And yeah, that's perfect. Perfect reproduction. So I will have to pick this up later. But thank you everybody. And it's been so much fun. But let's see if people are still around and want to join. I will see if I can find someone fun who is. Oh, we should go to Matteo Collina. I've never managed to like co-align with the sort of end of the stream, but he is fantastic. So we should go and have a look. So let's raid Matteo Collina. And cool. And yeah, I'll see you all later, I hope. Even you Nuxt.js streamers who came and joined me, that was fun. Thank you for doing that. See you later.